Convention time is heating up, so we decided to start this week's Explore Tulsa with a guy who gets his hands dirty to find relaxation.
Then we dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge at the BOK.
Followed by good eats downtown.
Plus the greatest show on the water.
Hi, I'm Stevie Fernandez.
And I'm Trish Whitmer. It's wonderful to see you with us for this week's Explore Tulsa. Stevie, what are you doing?
Washing up. I was spending a little time on the pottery wheel, so I'm trying to make you a coffee mug. I know you love to drink your coffee in the morning.
It better not be another dribbling glass.
No. This time, I'm learning from an expert. Jeff Wells at 3rd Street ClayWorks is showing me how it's done. Plus, it's hard to make pinholes when the mug keeps spinning around the pottery wheel.
You know, people say, well, you must have really cool plates at your house. And I'm like, no, we eat off the ones that haven't sold or that got chipped or whatever, you know. Someday I'll make my wife a set of real ones. But anyway. I got a job at a studio in Nacogdoches, Texas, at the college down there. I think it was '79. And they needed somebody to mix clay, mix glazes, and fire kilns. And I said, I don't know any of that. Oh, and run their wood shop. I knew the wood shop, so I said, I'm a quick study. So I started mixing clay and glazes and started watching people throw. And within a week or two, I was like, well, hell, I'm gonna try that. So I'd go in and put a mixer going at night, and I'd grab some clay and get on a wheel and start practicing. I don't consider what I make art. I think I get lucky sometimes, and a piece can transcend maybe that utilitarian thing to becoming an object worthy of just being seen, but that's lucky. I think it's the most immediate introduction to learning three-dimensional form, because the only thing close to it is working wood on a lathe. But even there's a tool between you and the material. Here, even though we use tools, these are in direct contact with the material. And at some point, you're almost like, what's the point? You go down to some store and buy a mug for $1. Why spend all the time to learn to make one? But there's something very gratifying about handcrafted, artisan type work, both making it and using it, or having it in your home or whatever. I try and get people on the wheel within 15 minutes of them being here. I get them to cut their balls of clay and put them in a bag. I give them a first demo, and I encourage my students both. I require it of my college students, but even the folks that come in just for fun, I encourage them heavily to learn how to make just a straight 1-pound cylinder, because that's the basis of pretty much everything we do. I always tell people, if you're a perfectionist, think of Little Red Riding Hood, and that perfectionism is the cloak, and you hang that crap on the hook by the door when you come in, because the more you strive for success, the less you're going to get at the beginning. So it's more learning the process than worrying about a finished product. Some people learn it very quickly, but the exciting thing is when you see somebody that's working, and it's the work that counts. I don't mean the product, it's the time you spend at the wheel, but they get that first right cylinder, and man, they're proud of it. I mean, you can tell. You hear artists say like, oh, if I could never paint again, my life would be empty. If I lost my business or whatever and ended up living on a pier down in Pensacola, I'd be happy catching fish and crabs and eating them. At the same time, would I miss it? Yeah. It's kind of cool to think that before there were cities and lights and you could see every star in the sky at night and the sun was still a god and the trees were talking to you, that people were doing this. I like making stuff. I've always liked making stuff, and when I found clay, I just enjoy the process. I don't really think too much in terms of selling. I'm not a good businessman for myself, but I just like making the stuff. And I like teaching. I like teaching a lot, so.
Jeff's got it all figured out. He loves working with his art, and pottery is so soothing and relaxing too, while he gets to teach others to do the same.
To learn how you can spend time learning and working in Jeff's studio, visit ClayWorksTulsa.com.
Now that's a place where a dodgeball could cause a lot of damage.
Well, that's why Jeff doesn't hold tournaments at his studio. But at the BOK Center, you will find over 60 teams competing for the coveted Tulsa Dodge Brawl title.
We mix it all up next with more Explore Tulsa just ahead. Hey, it's Stevie from Explore Tulsa with my friend and optometrist for many years, Dr. Robert Zellner. Tell everybody why it's so good to come in to see you.
Well, that's a great question. Let's see, we've got 2 great locations. We try to stay cutting edge at every point along the way because let's face it, everybody wants to come in and get taken care of in a timely fashion and get the latest, greatest stuff and save some money and get on with their life. And see clearly.
And if you don't believe it, look on the website.
Absolutely, drzellner.com. You can find that we have our 2 locations at 69th and Memorial and 3030 South Harvard, or you can give us a call at 749-2020 or 461-2020.
And I got 4 kids, and I gotta tell you, as a big family like that, it's affordable too.
Oh yes, and of course, the number one reason, you save some money. I mean, with our 2-pair specials, with our different unique packages that we put together, I mean, you can come in here and your money can go a lot farther than anywhere else.
And that's why with Dr. Robert Zellner and Associates, seeing is believing.
Oh, I like that, Stevie. Well done.
Send me some love.
Look at us. We woke up one morning with every song that ever mattered to anyone. So now what? Music's meant to be heard, out loud, where your life happens, where you dance, where you love, and where you live. When everyone has every song ever written, what matters most is how you listen.
Come hear for yourself at Video Revolution.
Hi again, and thanks for staying with us for more Explore Tulsa. Stevie, why are you making that face?
It's my Dodge Brawler face, Trish. This is the face of a winner.
It actually looks more like a target for a dodgeball. Did you know that dodgeball actually started in Africa over 200 years ago?
Yep, but those tribes actually used rocks instead of balls to play and separate the weak from the stronger warriors.
Well, luckily today we play the game that has rules that were formed in the U.S. back in 1905 that make Dodge Brawl much more safe and fun.
When we opened the building, we tried to come up with some events that could give back to the community. And so that's where Winterfest came in, our barbecue festival, and then we thought, well, what's something fun that can be a one-day tournament that can have adults kind of have that fun kid-like atmosphere again. And so dodgeball came to our minds. So we kind of came up with this concept of having a double elimination tournament, inviting adult teams to come play a middle school pastime. And it really hit off. I mean, we saw a good response our first year, expecting 25 to 30 teams. We had over 50. And so we were like, how can this grow? And our first year it was at the convention center and the exhibit halls. And so we thought, let's move it over to the BOK Center, put up the hockey glass, get the Jumbotron down, really encourage team uniforms and team names, and so it's really kind of developed from there. Dodge Fathers is a returning one that always comes. This year we have a team called Where My Wrench Is At, kind of a play on if you can dodge a wrench. So they come up with all types of stuff. You'll see costumes that go along with it. Super Mario Brawlers won our best team uniform last year, and they were dressed up like the characters with balloons on backpacks to look like Mario Kart. So people really go all out with this event. The team dynamics that we've seen are pretty cool. You'll see some downtown businesses that are getting together with coworkers to do kind of a team building dynamic, and then you'll just see groups of friends. We've seen old high school baseball teams reconnect and kind of have a reunion here each year, and it's really cool to see who all comes. We've actually had teams start coming from out of state. Last year we had 2 Dallas teams that compete in tournaments in Texas, and they heard about ours and really how good it goes and how much people like it, and so they came up, and so it's really cool to see it expand and really kind of morph into every type of demographic. The tournament is 18 and up, so we do keep it adults only for now. We have had some interest in some high school teams, so if that keeps building, we'll look at that. But teams fill up pretty quickly. We announce in beginning of May, and by mid-June, we're almost sold out. So it's really cool to watch that come in, and then really 2 to the event, we sell out pretty quickly. Dodgeball does come with its own set of rules. So they play in a 30 by 60 foot area. There's only 6 balls on the court at a time. Have to stay inside the court. No face shots if possible. But just classic dodgeball. We play it with a little bit different type of ball though. We've seen tournaments move from the big rubber balls that are gonna give you a big mark on your face if you get hit to a smaller 6-inch, more foam-like ball. It's a lot easier to hold, grip. You can have better aim with that. So really the spirit behind the special events that we produce in-house is to give back to the community. We know that the community had to come together to vote to pass the building of the BOK Center, and we just wanted to give a thanks back. We know that's not always concerts for some people. We wanted to provide something that was Tulsa owned. So Winterfest is a Tulsa holiday tradition now. Having a barbecue festival where pitmasters come from all over the nation in Tulsa is something they can be proud of, and same with Dodge Brawl. It's just, they're usually free or very affordable events. Dodge Brawl, there is a fee for those playing, but that goes to nonprofits that they play for. So each team represents a nonprofit, and then we give prize money to the top 3 winning teams, as well as the best team name and team uniform. The trophy's a big cup for the winner, and then smaller down, and then the winners get medals as well with the Dodge Brawl logo on it. But yeah, we've seen just this kind of grow with other buildings within our company. They call us and they've heard about it in Wichita, so they're having theirs this weekend, I believe, in Pensacola, Florida. So really it's funny to see dodgeball turn into a thing that people are doing all over the country.
Oh man, Trish, we need to form a team for next year's tournament. You could be the front line, providing cover for me and the crew.
If you've got the same idea as Stevie, then be sure to visit TulsaDodgeBrawl.com to learn all about the next event.
The great thing about Dodge Brawl is that it's so close to all the great food offered downtown.
Oh, that it is, Stevie. And our next stop takes us to one about to celebrate their 4th anniversary.
Plus, you're going to love Rusty Crane owner Lee Brennan when we come back with more Explore Tulsa.
Our most beautiful 4K HDR TV. Easily manage your cables for even a clean rear look. It hangs flat on the wall, just like a piece of art. Yet its slimness creates astounding images. Experience new discoveries with Android TV by getting instant access to everything you need. Introducing the latest Sony 4K HDR TV.
Hello, I'm John Erling with Voices of Oklahoma. Our great state has been home to countless individuals whose place in history has been earned through each of their many accomplishments. Voices of Oklahoma's mission is to preserve their story in an oral history presentation like none other. Accounts direct from famous Oklahomans, political figures, and many others who have left their indelible mark on the development, history, and future of Oklahoma. So please, treat yourself by listening to those who are the voices of Oklahoma.
Hello and welcome back for the Good Eats portion of Explore Tulsa.
And you gotta love a restaurant that has a signature dish called a Yum Lotta on the menu.
Owner and chef Lee Brannon tells us all about that tasty dish and how he came to open the Rusty Crane.
My dad inspired me when I was younger. He owned a restaurant, really just seeing how creative and awesome he was in the kitchen, really enjoying the stuff he made. So I wanted to do something that kind of echoed his skill set too. It didn't start out real well. When I was 14, kicking everyone out of the kitchen to make pasta, because I thought it'd be easy. But I put the noodles on the stove and just turned it on medium high. And I never stirred it or anything. And I put the raw meat in with the cold sauce in and basically boil cooked the meats. And we had to scrape the noodles out. And we're all trying to take bites, and I remember looking at my dad, and I was like, Dad, and he's sitting there with this bowl of pasta, and I was like, how about pizza for dinner? He's like, pizza it is. So that was my start. But you know, humble beginnings. I wanted to find a concept that would match well at the right place. And you know, I found this place, and you know, it was just an old abandoned warehouse at the time, but I mean, it was like falling in love or something. I just knew that this was the place, and I crafted the rusty crane to fit here. When I was testing the menu with a bunch of people, there seemed to be this lean to wanting to have a bit of a fancier motif, and I did not want that. I wanted to be ultra casual. I wanted a lot of quality in the ingredients, wanted to create a place with just incredible service, but I didn't want the top buttoned. I wanted t-shirts and flip-flops on, you know what I mean? We were having a really difficult time figuring out a name, and I remember I was in the parking lot over there by One Oak Field, and I was looking at the building, and I thought, man, if only there was some kind of feature about the building. And as if it hadn't been in there for decades, I noticed the big jib crane that was used for hoisting crates in and out of the building. And I was like, the big green jib crane. And I couldn't really fit it together, and I thought, man, if there was just one more feature about this building. And I thought, man, it sure is a rusty old building. And the name Rusty Crane just popped in my brain, and I mean, I was hooked. I was like, that's it. One recipe that I made for friends just over and over again was this thing I called a yumlada, but it's this tomato basil tortilla, and we put all kinds of ingredients in it. We have chicken, spinach, a house-made Alfredo, black beans, red and yellow bell peppers that we saute with some onions and garlic. It really brings out this just really nice bouquet of flavor. Two items that we could not have forecasted were going to be so popular are our wings and our fish tacos. We knew we wanted to do some wings, but what we ended up doing is throwing some coconut oil in with the rusty dust. And the rusty dust, if you haven't had it, it's a semi-spicy, kind of robust flavor. But we cooked these wings up together with that coconut oil, the dust. It was a sweet, spicy, kind of just, again, impactful flavor. And those wings have been incredibly popular. You know, coming up on our anniversary, there's so many emotions. You know, I still feel brand new. You know, what I'm most proud of is, you know, we had all the challenges I thought we were going to have. But we were also blessed beyond what I could have ever anticipated. Every day when we open, I'm excited to get to do it again. And every day when we close, I'm a little sad that I have to stop for the day, because it's just exciting. It's a gift to be able to do it.
The yumlada was amazing, but the chips they make were so hard to stop eating.
To take a peek at the menu, visit rustycranetulsa.com or just stop by and taste it for yourself at the corner of Archer and Detroit.
Now that we're all filled up, it's time for some outdoor summer fun.
And to do that, we'll have to head out to Grand Lake.
Great idea, because thunder on Wolf Creek is roaring with action when we come back with more Explore Tulsa.
For over 33 years, Video Revolution has been Tulsa's headquarters for all the best name brands of cutting-edge electronics. The experts at Video Revolution can put it all together for that ultimate home theater experience. Video Revolution on the northwest corner of 71st and Lewis for Tulsa's best team of qualified sales, service, and installation technicians.
Like, parents have a thing, when it gets too quiet in the home, we're worried. You know what I mean? I don't like silence in the home because it just feels dead.
Silence, that just doesn't feel like a creative place to me.
Turning on music in your house is almost like turning on the lights in your house.
Music makes mundane stuff better. And it's never too late to discover new things.
You just never know what song's gonna come on next.
Silence is probably the enemy of a happy home.
Come hear for yourself at Video Revolution.
Hello, race fans, and thanks for meeting us at the starting line for more Explore Tulsa.
If you've always wondered what the greatest show on the water is, then you're in for a real treat.
That's right, Trish. 65 hydroplane and runabout boats from over 15 states are converging at Wolf Creek on Grand Lake to put on a huge show.
It was something that passed on to me. My dad raced. Started in 1953. I got a boat in 54 when I was 14 years old, and Rick and now Braxton, all racers, and it's a family thing.
His father, my grandfather, started racing in 1953. He raced as a teenager, then I started at 14, and now we have my nephew Braxton racing, so we have 4 generations going now.
Well, I started racing in 1987. My father started racing in 1974, so we've been racing for quite a while.
This is 4 years. Now, we raced from 1970 to 1983 here, but we got too many pleasure boats, so we couldn't keep control. And then, so we had a 30-year hiatus, and then when they developed this park, my dad and I was like, hey, I think we could race here. You know, they range from a 20 cubic inch motor to a 50 cubic inch motor. And there's stock motors and modified motors. Modified have pipes that are loud, and some stock motors that classes are much more even in speed and a lot of driving to it. So there's 2 kinds of boats, runabouts and hydroplanes. So we have like 11 total classes. You know, the slowest class is our novice, that runs about 50. And then the fastest is about 90, 95. The hydroplane kind of rides up on a cushion of air more, and a runabout is more of a V-bottom boat. It really takes a little more skill to drive it, but the hydroplanes are faster.
My father started building his own engines, and we built a few of our own boats. All the upkeep, paint jobs, about anything that needs to be done, we can usually handle ourselves.
It's all about starts, and we have a countdown clock that counts down to 0, and you try to hit the starting line right at that clock when it hits 0. If you're over or early, you're disqualified. Well, if you're late, everybody gets a head start. So that's really the skill of our sport, is getting that timing down. So hitting that clock at 0 at full speed. When there gets to be 10, 12 boats, it gets crowded and people get in your way, and you know, I may know it's 8 seconds from a certain buoy, but if people get in my way, then it makes it difficult. You know, we race 2 heats, so you can't just be good once. You've got to be consistent. And like today, I won a race with a first and a second, and another guy had a first and a third. My dad and I are the organizers of this event. He's really the main worker of this thing. He spends a lot of time coordinating it and just a lot of logistics to make this thing happen, and I help out too, but my dad, Leonard Miller, is really the worker of this deal.
Well, we work really hard to communicate to the people, but we give it's a free community thing, so it's a lot of fun.
This is a great facility with the boat ramps that they've improved on. The lake's the right size. It gets a little big on the big end there. It gets a little rough, but this is an excellent place to race.
Well, it's tough. We like usually smaller bodies of water because we can't have any pleasure boats because their waves will cause an accident. But we're back in this cove, and GRDA's been good to put some buoys out, patrol to keep the boats out. So, but I tell you, the facility right here, all this park and the ramps and the parking lot is phenomenal. It's like top in the nation.
Had a very large crowd, probably 1,300 people here today. And the drivers really appreciate having people here to see them race. They're all pretty brave kids.
I have 2 people here today that were at my first race I ever went to. I was a little pit man at 6 years old, and those 2 guys are here today.
The importance of the races to me is it's a family-oriented sport, and you can get your kids into it as young as 9 years old. And there's not a lot of money to be won, so I think that helps with the friendship.
That's really been the fun for me to travel. We've raced in California, north and south, upstate New York, Florida, everywhere in between. So to travel the country, meet people has been fun. And
I enjoy a real close, tight race, just like the second heat of D-Hydro. That was a lot of fun to be able to race that close with a good friend of yours. and it's a real thrill.
I love the name Doctors Leonard and Rick Miller put on their boats. What's up, Doc?
So you don't miss next year's event, be sure to visit thunderonwolfcreek.com.
Plus, be sure to look up rsu.tv, press the shows tab, and look for Living Grand on Grand Lake to see other big adventures that are going on at the Lake of the Cherokees.
Stick around, we'll be back with more Explore Tulsa.
Have you outgrown your home entertainment system? Then it's time to step up with Video Revolution and Sony for the ultimate 4K home theater experience. Size does matter when it comes to the quality and enjoyment that you get from a home entertainment system. Engineered by the experts at Video Revolution on the northwest corner of 71st and Lewis.
Hi, Dr. Robert Zellner here. For over 20 years, I've offered affordable, convenient eye care in Tulsa. Right now, you can get one pair of glasses or contact lenses starting at just $99 or my two-pair deal for $129. Hey, and as always, the eye exam's included. Walk-ins are always welcome. Glasses are ready in about an hour. Plus, we have over 2,000 frames to choose from. We're open 7 days a week. Come see why we're voted Tulsa's best. And our drive-thru at 69th and Memorial makes pickup simple and easy. For the best eye care value in Tulsa, Dr. Robert Zellner and Associates.
Be sure and join us next week when we meet Elizabeth King of Elizabeth King Consulting. It's kind of crazy how she got a job at a place that has the same name as hers.
Special thanks to Jeff Wells for telling us how he got into working with clay and starting up 3rd Street ClayWorks.
Thanks too to Brian Smith for letting us know about the action Dodge Brawl brings to the BOK Center each and every year. Be sure and dodge those wrenches. And thanks to Lee Brennan for bringing us all the good eats at the Rusty Crane.
Also, thanks to Doctors Leonard Miller and Rick Miller for bringing hydroplane and runabout boat racing back to Oklahoma at Grand Lake.
Remember, if you miss any of the show, you can always catch us at exploretulsa.com.
As always, each week we feature the people, places, and attractions that make us proud to call Tulsa our home.
And hey, don't forget to like us on Facebook and share with us someone you think Tulsa should know more about.
Plus, remember, Explore Tulsa is brought to you by Video Revolution, located on the northwest corner of 71st and Lewis.
Stop by, say hello to Ron and all the guides for all your home entertainment needs.
And Explore Tulsa is also proudly brought to you by Dr. Robert Zollner and Associates.
Home of the $99 deal, get one pair of stylish glasses and an eye exam for just $99. Plus, he has 2 locations, 3030 South Harvard and 69th and Memorial.
Well, that's all the time we have for you on this week's show, but we'll see you next week right here on Explore Tulsa.